Have you ever noticed that your child with ADHD seems wide awake just when it's bedtime? Or maybe you have felt it yourself, tossing, turning, your brain refusing to switch off. You're not alone. Research shows that up to 70% of children and adults with ADHD struggle with sleep. But the real question is, why does this happen? That's exactly what we are unpacking today. Welcome to EducateAble. This is where we dive into practical research backed insights for parents, teachers, and carers of neurodivergent children. If you find today's conversation helpful, make sure to subscribe so you never miss new content. So, why do ADHD brains struggle so much with sleep? One of the biggest reasons is what many call the racing mind. ADHD brains are wired for stimulation, and when the world finally goes quiet, the thoughts only get louder. Instead of winding down, the brain starts replaying the day, planning tomorrow, or hopping from idea to idea. Another factor is something known as delayed sleep phase syndrome. Many people with ADHD have an internal clock that's shifted. They naturally feel alert later in the evening and sleepy much later at night, almost like their body is living in a completely different time zone. Then there's the role of dopamine and melatonin. Dopamine regulates motivation and alertness, but it's also closely tied to melatonin, the hormone that signals it's time to sleep. In ADHD, melatonin release is often delayed, which means the body simply doesn't feel ready for bed at the usual time. And of course, we can't ignore the co occurring factors: anxiety, sensory sensitivities, or even side effects from medication can play a role. Some children might be bothered by light, sound, or the feeling of the bed sheets. Others may still have stimulants active in their system if the dose was taken too late in the day. Now, here's something we don't talk about enough: the way sleep loss is often mistaken for behavior problems. A tired ADHD brain looks more impulsive, more restless, and more emotionally reactive. This isn't a child being difficult, it's biology. When we recognize sleep as part of the picture, we can respond with empathy instead of frustration. So, what can actually help? Let's talk about supporting sleep in practical ways. First, consistent routines with flexibility. Predictability is soothing, especially for ADHD brains. A simple wind down routine, dimming the lights, reading a book, or listening to calming music, tells the brain it's time to rest. But we also have to allow flexibility. For some children, lying still in silence feels unbearable. A quiet fidget toy or gentle movement can actually help them settle. Second, light and screen management. We know screens suppress melatonin, but asking a child to just switch off isn't realistic. A gradual transition works better. Warmer lights, audio stories, or a blue light filter an hour before bed can make a big difference. Third, body and sensory comfort. For children who are sensitive to their environment, comfort is everything. Weighted blankets, breathable fabrics, or white noise can reduce the sensory overload that keeps them awake. And finally, emotional safety. A child who feels anxious or overwhelmed during the day often carries that tension into the night. Building in a few minutes of emotional connection at bedtime, talking, cuddling, or simply listening, helps the nervous system calm down enough to rest. So the next time bedtime feels like a battle, remember this: it's not laziness, it's not defiance, and it's not poor parenting. ADHD brains genuinely struggle to switch off. When we understand the why behind it, we can meet bedtime with patience and strategies that actually work. Over time, sleep becomes less of a fight and more of a gentle journey to rest. If this video gave you new insights, don't forget to subscribe and follow EducateAble. Every week, we share content on ADHD, education, and practical ways to support neurodivergent children and families. Because every child deserves the chance to thrive, not just get through the day.